Good morning, New York. I don't know why I said that. Welcome back to my channel. Yes, I'm still in my pajamas. I was literally mid-journaling. It's 8:14 a.m., but I got this surge of inspo and I needed to make this video. So let's get into it. This is going to be the lie I kept telling myself, right? I know. So the lie that I kept telling myself was the fact that I thought that I was an introvert. I kept telling myself like I'm an introvert, and people who know me in real life would also know the fact that like I will proclaim that I'm an introvert as well. And yes, I am aware that I do have some introverted tendencies, but there is a reason for that, and I will get into it. So this narrative telling others and myself in my head like I'm an introvert, like labeling it kept me feeling safe to the habits and safe from perception that if I'm being weird or off or awkward, like people would just be like, oh, she's an introvert. It's fine. It's fine. But I think that that's really far from the truth. And I feel like I've struggled with words sometimes. And sometimes I do struggle with words. Like sometimes I don't know what to say or I know everything to say. It just really depends. And if you're into astrology, I have Mercury in my 12th house. So if you know, you know. The 12th house is kind of like the unseen or like what is hidden. And so I have Mercury in my 12th house at 8 degrees. So you can see, you can know about all that. This is not an astrology channel yet. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so I felt very safe in my head with my own thoughts. And like, I thought that because sometimes I feel like I'm like, different or weird and like I overthink sometimes, that just by saying that I'm an introvert it would excuse anything that in my head I thought was weird or like socially inadequate or whatever. Like just calling myself an introvert gave me an excuse, but that's not true. The truth is that I have a very unique perspective on life and the way that I think and the way that I operate and the way that I go through the world. I move through the world is unique, which is what makes my perception and the way I connect with people different, and which has also led me to feel like calling myself an introvert for the things I say, do, feel like was a pass. But that's really not, an excuse, because I actually love talking to people. Even if I struggle sometimes or tell myself I struggle, even if I don't, I love to talk to people. I love to learn from people. I love to listen to people. I love to connect with people. And the reasons for this are as such. So I moved out when I was 22, so pretty young, and I've also been independent from a young age. I worked ever since I was 14, haven't stopped working since, unless I've had some moments of unemployment, but not anything super prolonged or like I've actively wanted to be unemployed. I've always been working. And I was in university for 6 years, so, due to the fact that I was responsible for paying for most of my schooling, and just like working throughout university and whatever, that's led me to be in school for 6 years. So you can imagine just like people, times, things have changed. I graduated during 2020, starting online and then kind of going in person slowly. So just like things like that as well. Working during many of my formative years. So creating and sustaining long-term relationships was a little difficult for me. Just as a result of constantly working and commuting between, school, work, wherever I was living at the time, being in all different cities. It was a lot, and I also don't care about social media, even though I'm all over social media. I know it's kind of like, it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense because I know that I'm meant to be seen and my words are meant to be felt and heard and people can learn from me as much as I can learn from other people. But I don't really like the thought of being online because it kind of reminds me of that feeling of like going to the party or a club that like in the middle of the night, like it's like you're you're a little late to the party and you're like, what's going on here? That's kind of how it feels for me to be online, even though I love posting. I also did an online course, and I do believe in investing in yourself. I have entrepreneurial tendencies as well, so being in that online creator world, entrepreneurial space is something that is familiar to me. I have very creative thinking. I don't care about people pleasing or proving myself or needing outside validation. I'm not, I used to be materialistic, but I'm not anymore. And I don't need much to be happy. I don't need motivation or validation from anything outside of myself, like that little, fire in me that keeps burning, that ambition, that drive. When I'm passionate about something, when I'm interested, when I'm, committed, like, that's where the energy flows and the success goes and the ball rolls over there. But yeah, very like self-sustaining flame internally. Like I don't need anything outside myself. And I don't put people, places, things, money, experiences, circumstances, or anything on a pedestal, which allows me to kind of like talk to anybody. Like I have that audacity. Like I feel like I can, I feel like I can do anything. I feel like the world is my oyster. I feel like I can talk to anybody, learn from anyone, do anything. Like, just that surge of like life and vitality. Like by not putting things on a pedestal, it allows me to not really overthink about it. So that's where that comes from. Okay, where was I? Excuse the sniffle. Yeah, I don't really care about alcohol or drinking. I see it as more of like an experience or like an art. Like it's kind of like having, I don't really see alcohol as, I don't care about it. I don't really care for the way it makes me feel. I see it as an art, like making coffee or making anything, like work, like it's kind of like an art form. And just the way that, I would probably have a coffee at a coffee shop, like occasionally having a nice cocktail or a nice drink somewhere, it's like a nice experience reading my book. But it's not to like get drunk or because I need it to feel a type of way. I don't really care about feeling buzzed by anything because I don't need anything outside of myself to make me feel the feelings that things outside of you would give you. You know what I mean? And I care deeply about my physical, mental, and spiritual health. And I've been through many, many periods in my life of isolation. And it has caused like a lot of profound spiritual awakenings in me. And I don't need to fill voids with superficial pleasure. Like I don't need to fill any voids. And I don't need to do, like a lot of people do, a lot of the reasons that people do things or buy things or go places or do anything they do. And so this is something that sales has also taught me as well, is to get that feeling. You don't purchase something to purchase it. You don't do anything to do anything. You mainly, like, yes, there are needs, right? But a lot of choices come from the feeling. But if you can give yourself that feeling that thing or place or person, whatever outside of you would give you, you've already won. Like, you don't need anything outside of you. And yeah, so I don't really have voids like that that need to be like filled, because I can fill my own cup. You know what I mean? I love to hang out by myself. I feel very comfortable and confident doing things alone. And if you can treat, like, it's kind of the feeling that you give on certain things in your life, your outlook, your perspective that elevates things and brings that value to it, right? Like this glass of water, this glass originally had my instant coffee, right? And I decided to clean it out and make it a glass of water, right? But if I think it's really cool and unique, right? And it probably cost me like, what, $6 to $8 for this little coffee, instant coffee. I value this as much as I would value something that might cost $80 or whatever. Like, in my head it might be like, why is this $80 and this other glass is $6? But to me, they're both glasses and they do the same thing. And if I view this glass as if it's like the $80 glass, it's like nothing's stopping me from viewing it like that, you know, because it is like in my head, like everything that I value and that I appreciate, like that, like I elevate those things, you know, the things that I decide to appreciate, not a price tag. Like a price tag or perceived validation or perception of things doesn't affect me. I choose what to validate and elevate in my life, and it doesn't matter about like any external factors like price or whatever, exclusivity, like those things don't matter. It's just my choice. That was like a loud gulp. Anyways, where was I? Yes, so I don't need to fill the voids. I don't watch the news really, and I don't own a TV. I don't care to. I don't have the desire to. I read a lot. I go outside a lot. I'm out of the loop when it comes to things like what people my age are doing or like certain memes or whatever. Like I feel out of the loop on that. Yeah, I love creating, learning, conversations, even though I feel like I'm not always good at it. I think that ever since I started slowing down on on the caffeine, it's showing me that I might have ADHD. But anyways, that's a different conversation. Yeah. Where was I? Baking, cooking, fashion, beauty, art, music, experiences. Those things interest me. I love those things. And I've also realized that the greatest wealth indicator you can have, or that the greatest wealth indicator in life is time, and filling it with everything that's meaningful to you is the point. And money is a tool, food is fuel. These are my personal perspectives, which leaves room in my brain because, like I said, you know, I feel like there's a lot that goes on in my head. That leaves more room to create, learn, and enjoy life, you know? Because I'm always like, I'm a Virgo sun, and, you know, with the Mercury placement in the 12th house, sometimes there's just a lot of overthinking or overanalyzing, or just a lot going on in my head. I'm imagining, I'm, you know, dreaming, I'm thinking, I'm creating. And so just basic stuff, I like to, you know, keep those systematic in my life so that I have room to, you know, think about the things that make me happy. And I know that abundance is everywhere, you know. That abundance is inside of us, outside of us, and that, you know, one person's success or abundance does not take away from yours because it's literally infinite and everywhere. I believe in manifestation and, you know, aligned thoughts and actions. And yeah, so I'm connected to everything, but I feel like I'm attached to nothing, or kind of, yeah. And I love to connect to everything, and I feel like, you know, I also really love to talk to strangers. I know, it's like when I'm out in public, I feel like, or just kind of like in my day-to-day, like I can talk to strangers randomly. Like I have no fear when it comes to talking to strangers. Not that I just talk to strangers, like don't do that, but if I'm like at a coffee shop or just like doing something at the gym, whatever, and I want to say hi or ask someone if they're still using that or whatever, like that weight, I don't really feel scared about doing that. But yeah, so I can connect to so many people because of my maturity and experiences and being young. I can connect to a lot of different people, but I feel like it's hard to relate to people, you know what I mean? And so that's where I find it kind of sometimes can feel like a crutch, even though it's not. But it can feel like that sometimes, because it's like, sometimes I'm like, what do I even say to this person? Or like, how do I even respond? Because I actually just don't like think about those things, or like I actually just, that hasn't crossed my mind, you know what I mean? And where was I here? Yeah, the things that bring me joy are very simple And I don't really like to pay too much attention to much outside of that in my personal life. Like I said, things I do, and things I care about are really things people cannot take from you, or really things that, and when I say things people can't take from you, I mean, the body, mind, and spirit. Like, I love to go outside, and I love to, be curious and talk to people. I love to move my body and be fit, and I love to learn, and I love to read and imagine and create, and really things like even putting myself out on the internet, even though I sometimes don't want to be seen. Like, this is my channel, and nobody can take that away from me. The way I just said that. Nobody can take that away from me. No, and nobody can take that away from me. Like, your thoughts, your beliefs, your attitude, your perspectives come from you, And I think that cultivating a world that's so colorful, that stems from you, like, as long as you're the creator of your reality, and I don't know where this is going now, but essentially I'm not really an introvert, and I use that as just like a band-aid for the fact that I'm very weird. Not weird, but like I have a, you know what, maybe I am weird. I use that label to kind of cover up the fact that I'm different, and I think differently, and I see things differently, and I have a different perspective on things, and sometimes I feel like my soul is old, which is not a bad thing, but I use that phrase or that kind of band-aid to be like, I'm an introvert, so, if I don't socialize the same, or if I don't act the same, or talk the same, or have the same responses to things, or see things the same, then it's just because I'm an introvert. It's like, no, like, my perspective is valid, and my perspective is unique, and learning to step into that and embrace that. Learning to embrace that perspective is unique and very needed in the world. Like, people need to hear what I have to say as much as I need to hear what others have to say, and by calling myself an introvert and limiting myself under that band-aid by thinking, it's just like, whatever, I'm not going to speak up, or I'm not going to ask that person a question, or, I'm not going to offer my insight or have that person or feel weird about what I just said. It's like, sometimes I'll literally be like, why did I say that? Like, why did I say that? Was so, like, not smart. Like, why did that come out of my mouth? Because sometimes I'm like, what do I say to that? And it's like, I think it's just embracing the fact that I am different, and I am unique, and I have a unique perspective, and the way my mind works is different, will allow me to just feel, and not only allow me to feel better, but, it is what it is. We need people in the world with different perspectives and unique and creative ways of thinking to positively impact and make positive changes in this world. Like, if you're different, if you have a unique perspective, or have gone through different experiences that make you feel a little uncomfortable, or make you feel like maybe you've isolated yourself as a result of it, go shine. Don't feel like bad about yourself. Don't feel uncomfortable or awkward. And sometimes, like, I will purposely talk to people even if I'm not in a socializing mood, and even if I say the wrong things or don't know what to say, or I just, like, that interaction, I'm like, wow, that was so awkward. Like, I don't know why I just said that. I will do it anyways, because it's not always about the things you say. It's about the attention you give and your intention behind it, right? Like, it's like, I want to connect today, so I'm going to talk to, this person, and it doesn't matter how that interaction went, as long as, it's positive and they feel like I'm making a positive feeling, and it's like uplifting, because it's not always about what you say, it's about how you make people feel. And even if you make someone feel, excuse the sniffle, that was so gross. Making someone feel seen is a positive impact, regardless of what you say, as long as you have a positive intention and you're being positive about it, which is something I've learned too. Because even if I am sometimes finding myself being weird or saying the wrong thing, like just the fact that I wanted to have a conversation and wanted to connect and wanted to put myself out there a little bit is the point. Just like this video. I don't even know what I'm saying half the time I come on the internet. I just do it because I want to make a positive impact, and I know someone can benefit from the things I'm saying as much as I can benefit from, not benefit, like this isn't a transaction exactly, but someone can have a positive impact from the things I'm saying as much as I have a positive impact by putting myself out there, you know? And let's wrap this up by saying what brings me so much purpose is to make a positive impact in this world. Even if I don't know how exactly, and I know the world needs to see me, and I know that I need to put myself out there. And I've struggled at times to realize my value and purpose, but I love to help others. I love to connect with people. I love to put myself out there. And, you know, your value I need to emphasize your value is not a measure of your productivity. Can I just say that? Your value is not all encompassing of the productivity you do or how productive you are, or how much money you make or what you have. Your value is an intrinsic quality. Your value is intrinsic. Your value is in the fact that you exist, and the fact that you exist alone is rare and special and unique, and you have so many things about you that separate yourself from other people, and the things that you feel like might be a little like a crutch in your life, or that might feel like a setback, really sets you apart. And I'm going to say something that, excuse the sniffle, that was so gross. The stone, okay, so I love the Bible, the New Testament, as a purely historical text. Like, I'm not a big, I'm not religious, and I proclaim myself as spiritual and kind of an atheist. I don't subscribe to any religion or anything, but in the Bible, I wrote this down because I really liked it. There's a quote, I believe, I don't know which one it is, either Psalm 18:20. You know what? I'm just going to say the quote. The stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. And a stone that the builders thought was useless ended up being the most important part of the structure. And it's often interpreted, this quote, as someone who was rejected or overlooked by people, but really someone who's being chosen or elevated by the universe or God or whoever you believe in for a crucial purpose. And, you know, I'm not religious and I don't subscribe to any religion, but in Christianity, it's common. This is what ChatGPT said. It's commonly applied to, you know, Jesus, who was rejected by many people in his life, but seen as foundational. But more as an overarching concept, not religious or whatever, that people, you know, this really resonated with me, the whole, you know, the stone that the builders rejected thing, because it's the idea that rejection, or that feeling of rejection or isolation or being different, doesn't determine your worth or potential, and that thing that makes you different, or that thing that feels like you don't understand, like the fact that sometimes I struggle with words or to connect to people, but I really want to and I really enjoy it. Like sometimes that's valuable in and of itself. Something else I've learned about myself throughout my life is like I have this ability where when I'm like I've realized that even when I don't try, like I know I have value in myself. That actually made no sense, but I'll tell you why. Because, like, for example, when I'm out, and I've known this and I've recently seen this example pop up again, like sometimes you yourself are the value. Not what you do, not what you have, not what you are, not what you are, like, not, yes, what you are, not what you earn or whatever you have or your money or this and that. Because, like, I know that sometimes when I go to, I'll use this example, going to different, like, vendor markets, right? And there will be booths where no one's there. And I'll go up to it and just kind of, like, be curious and ask questions and, like, pick up the, products and, like, just interact. All of a sudden, and I know this is also psychology, but all of a sudden, like, people behind me will just show up. And it's like, sometimes I will go to empty booths knowing just so that I could draw attention to them to make a positive impact. Like, I know that might sound so weird, but just being seen, getting out of my apartment, being in public, like, that has value in and of itself. Or that meaningless conversation that you think is so meaningless or random, not meaningless, but like so mundane, maybe that random smile you gave the stranger on the sidewalk, like, made their entire day or changed their mood or made them feel a little better, because you never know what someone's going through. Or, the fact that, like, if you held a door open for someone and you don't know, what that little act of kindness could have made them feel, that's value in and of itself. That is something that has nothing to do with being productive or generating revenue or all these things. But yeah, the whole fact that I thought I was an introvert, I'm not an introvert. And this is my see, I'm doing it right now. This is my self-proclamation. Proclamation? Oh my gosh, look at me again. Look at me now. I don't feel bad about it. This is my day that I'm deciding that I'm no longer an introvert. I'm a selective extrovert, okay? And you have so much value in just the fact that you exist. Your unique and weird perspective matters. And what makes you different is the reason you'll shine. I love you. I love you so much. I love you so much. You have so much to offer the world. You can do anything in this life. I'm sending you all the love. Bye for now.